If you noticed, the recent Starship flight timing was quite different compared to previous launches. While most earlier launches typically occurred at night or during less visually optimal hours, this one took place in the middle of the day. This time, SpaceX deliberately adjusted the timing to achieve something they've been working toward for a while: a clear, well-lit view of Starship's splashdown in the ocean. This change in schedule wasn't a random decision. SpaceX wanted to capture critical footage of the Starship upper stage's landing, burn, and splashdown with maximum visibility, and they absolutely nailed it. The footage, released yesterday afternoon, shows the landing from a buoy camera stationed at the designated splashdown site. This isn't the first time SpaceX has used external cameras to capture Starship landings, but it is the first time such footage has been captured during daylight with such clarity and precision. The 23-second video starts right before Starship's Raptor engines ignite for the landing burn. The vehicle, still horizontal in its belly flop position, can be seen descending toward the ocean. As the engines ignite, a dramatic flip maneuver begins, with the ship's bottom swinging rapidly to align vertically. This isn't just for show, it's a crucial part of SpaceX's plan to make Starship reusable. The footage clearly demonstrates how the ship transitions from horizontal to vertical, a process controlled by the gimbaling of the sea-level Raptor engines. This maneuver is not only visually impressive, but also highly complex, as it requires precise control to counteract the ship's swing motion and ensure a stable descent. What's even more striking about this footage is the accuracy of the landing. The buoy camera appears to be fixed in place, and yet Starship lands almost perfectly within its frame. This kind of precision will be essential in the future, when SpaceX moves from ocean landings to mid-air catches using the launch tower's chopsticks. The footage also highlights just how much horizontal movement occurs during the flip. At the start of the sequence, Starship is positioned far to the left of the camera's frame, but the engine ignition sends it swinging toward the splashdown zone in a dramatic arc. Following this successful splashdown, Musk announced that SpaceX plans to conduct one more water landing before transitioning to the ambitious goal of catching Starship mid-air using the launch tower's catching arms, known as chopsticks. This critical shift will represent a major milestone in SpaceX's pursuit of a fully reusable rocket system. Musk has emphasized that for these catch attempts to be feasible, both launch towers at SpaceX's Starbase facility in Boca Chica, Texas, and Kennedy Space Center in Florida must be fully operational. The second tower at Kennedy Space Center, part of the Launch Complex 39A expansion, is expected to be completed by mid-2025, enabling simultaneous operations from two key launch sites. The Federal Aviation Administration recently approved an updated operational license for SpaceX, allowing for up to 25 booster and ship catch attempts per year. While SpaceX may not initially reach the full 25 flight capacity, this approval provides the flexibility needed to conduct frequent launches and iterative improvements. Looking ahead, the V2 Starship, set to debut on Flight 7, is the next major step in this evolution. This version incorporates a lot of enhancements based on data from the 6 previous test flights. Among the most significant upgrades are redesigned forward flaps, which have been shifted further inward to improve the vehicle's aerodynamics and overall reliability during re-entry. This adjustment also simplifies manufacturing, a key factor in SpaceX's long-term goal of producing Starship at scale. Another critical improvement in the V2 Starship is the increased propellant capacity, which allows for greater payloads to orbit. Current estimates suggest that the V2 variant could deliver up to 150 metric tons to low Earth orbit in a fully reusable configuration, matching or exceeding the capacity of SpaceX's workhorse Falcon Heavy in its expendable setup. This capability is essential for Starship's intended roles, which include supporting NASA's Artemis program. The enhanced heat shield is another focal point of the V2 design. Musk has publicly discussed the challenges associated with Starship's ceramic tiles, describing them as brittle and prone to cracking under the intense conditions of re-entry. To address these issues, the new heat shield is both stronger and more robust, incorporating a secondary ablative layer behind the tiles to provide additional protection. SpaceX is also testing new heat shield materials designed specifically for Martian atmospheric re-entry, using plasma jet chambers to simulate the unique conditions of Mars' carbon dioxide-rich atmosphere. This testing is part of SpaceX's broader strategy to prepare Starship for interplanetary missions. While SpaceX continues to dominate the space industry with its groundbreaking achievements, its biggest competitor, Boeing, is under heavy criticism for the repeated failures of its Starliner program. Both SpaceX and Boeing were awarded contracts under NASA's Commercial Crew Program to develop spacecraft capable of transporting astronauts to and from the International Space Station. However, the difference in outcomes between the two companies has been staggering. SpaceX developed the Crew Dragon spacecraft, which has proven to be a reliable and cost-effective solution. For nearly half the cost of Boeing's contract, SpaceX delivered a fully operational spacecraft that has completed multiple crewed missions to the International Space Station since its first flight in 2020. In contrast, Boeing's Starliner program has faced continuous delays, technical problems, and massive financial losses, leaving NASA and the broader space industry questioning Boeing's ability to fulfill its commitments. The Starliner program has been plagued with issues from the beginning. During its first uncrewed test flight in 2019, Starliner failed to reach the International Space Station due to a software error that caused it to use excessive fuel shortly after launch. While the spacecraft safely returned to Earth, the mission was considered a failure. Investigations uncovered additional flaws in Starliner's software and testing procedures, forcing Boeing to spend significant resources on corrections. In 2021, a second uncrewed test flight was delayed several times due to valve malfunctions in the spacecraft's propulsion system. This delay further disrupted NASA's plans, leaving it entirely reliant on SpaceX's Crew Dragon for all missions to the International Space Station. The lack of redundancy has put operational pressure on NASA and highlighted the stark contrast between SpaceX's success and Boeing's struggles. The Starliner program faced another setback in 2024 during its first crewed test flight. Although the spacecraft successfully docked with the International Space Station, the mission revealed additional issues, including thruster malfunctions and helium leaks. While the astronauts aboard Starliner were not in immediate danger, the problems underscored the spacecraft's lack of reliability. The mission, which Boeing had hoped would demonstrate Starliner's readiness, instead raised more doubts about its future. One of the most notable incidents occurred when delays with Starliner left a crew of astronauts stranded on the International Space Station longer than planned. NASA had to use SpaceX's Crew Dragon to safely return the astronauts to Earth. This incident not only emphasized SpaceX's critical role in NASA's operations, but also highlighted Boeing's inability to deliver on its promises. The situation created additional logistical challenges for NASA and underscored the urgency of developing a reliable second option for transporting astronauts to the International Space Station. The financial impact of these issues on Boeing has been immense. NASA awarded Boeing $4.3 billion to develop Starliner, significantly more than the $2.6 billion given to SpaceX for Crew Dragon. Despite this higher funding, Boeing has had to absorb more than $1.8 billion in additional costs to address technical problems and delays. These financial overruns have put significant strain on the company, leading to speculation that Boeing might exit the space industry altogether. Reports suggest that Boeing is exploring the possibility of selling its space division, including the Starliner program, as part of a broader effort to mitigate financial losses. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates.